What's good, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Zamir from XCC Tunes. In this video I'm going to share 5 more music production tips. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, the first tip is quantize preset. A lot of Cubase producers doesn't know that they can actually create the quantize presets, and it's very simple. Let me just show you guys. Let me add some instrument here. I'm going to go and find yeah, I think this is fine. Let's have a hi-hat pattern now. Let me just do an easy one, and I'm just gonna be duplicating them, right? So this is the standard hi-hat pattern. So let's say you have already kind of make this hi-hat to sound realistic, right? So let's say you use these clicks and then you quantize them again, and then you have this pattern now, a little bit more humanized, right? So if you want to save these preset, all you have to do is just click on the quantize panel, this one, and just drag and drop it here like so. Okay, so if let's say you want to use a different hi-hat now, and you want to use the same hi-hat quantize, and I'm gonna use this quantize preset, and I'm gonna get the same exact time from this hi-hat, right? So that is useful. But there's another cool thing that you also can do, which is the velocity. So for instance, let's say I have created this realistic hi-hat pattern, and then I have adjusted the velocity as well, like so. Right now, if I drag and drop this one, okay, when I go to this hi-hat now, I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to increase the velocities percentage, right? Let's say 50, 69. That's a good number. And I'm going to quantize this. You can see the velocity also changed, right? So that is useful, especially when you want to produce beat faster, right? And the cool part is you can save this preset. So I'm going to show you guys how to save this one. So all you have to do is just click on this button and you go down and click on save preset, right? If you want to rename this preset, just do the same thing, click on here and go to rename preset. Let's say humanize 8. So I'm going to hit OK. So every time I go to my quantize panel, this one here, I'm going to have the humanize 8 note, right? Which is useful. Another way that you can do this is by let me create another hi-hat here. Okay, I have a very straight 8 notes right now, and I'm going to go to the quantize panel, right? You can actually adjust the swing right here. So for instance, if I want to add a little bit of swing, I can see that the note grid is actually kind of moving, right? So this is like quantize, and then if I add swings, you can see these notes are kind of moving, right? And then you can actually quantize that way as well. Okay, so it has that swing feeling. So if I want to save this, I can do that. I can go and save preset, and I'm gonna save this as let's say 1/8 note swing, right? Okay, so next time if I want to, I can create this pattern like so. So if I want to add another note here, I'm gonna go to the 8 note, right? And I'm gonna use the line, just drag it. Now when I select this, I can go to the swing 8 note and I can quantize them, right? But if you do the swing, the velocity will not be added. So now you can actually use either way. You can create the swing and then save that after you change the velocity. You know, just drag and drop this here, and then you can save them. And then you can do a lot of things with this quantize preset. So that is the first tip for today. Let's move on to the next one. So the second one is about track archive versus track preset. All right, it's actually two different things, but it's almost kind of similar. Okay, this is how I use track preset. For instance, let's say I like to have 6 backing vocals, like 6 backing vocals for harmonies, or you know, doubling and stuff like that. If let's say I always use 6 tracks for backing vocals, so this is what I do. I'm gonna go to mono track. I'm gonna create 6 tracks. Let's name them BB. Okay, so yeah, the color is fine. I'm gonna stick to the same color, And let's say I always use the same type of panning, which is left and right, and then left 50%, right 50%, and then just a tiny bit left, maybe about 20%, and same 20%. Okay, let's say I always like to have the hard left and right fader to be a bit lower, and in the 50% left and right I like to keep them in this level, and then like this one is a bit more higher than the previous one. All right, so let's say this is how I always like to mix my background vocals. I'll just set this fader like so. Then what I can do, I can just select all of these track, right click, go to save track preset, and I'm gonna name this background vocals. Okay, so now when I go to my user preset, I'm gonna go to track preset, and I'm gonna go to multi. So I have this BV, right? I can just drag and drop this, and I'm gonna have the same settings here. So you can see all of this, they have the same kind of fader arrangement. So the panning, everything else is the same. Okay, so it's really cool. I really like to use this way. And also, if you have a group track, for instance, right? Let me add a group track here. Stereo BV bus, for instance, right? And just making sure that it's assigned to the group. Yep. So all of these tracks here below, all of them is being added to this bus, right? So I'm gonna just put the bus up above, and let me just change the color as well. Yeah, the same color. And I'm gonna select all of them right now, right click on it and go to save track preset. So BV group. Okay, and I got this BV group. Let me just remove all of these because too many tracks annoys me. Okay, I'm gonna just drag and drop this here, and now I got the BV bus, and everything else is right here. Okay, another cool thing is that I know a lot of people like to use the folder. Unfortunately, you can't add folder with track preset, right? But there's a workaround to that. What you can do, you can actually save these as a track archive. So I'm gonna just select all of them, right click, go to move selected tracks to new folder, right? And I'm gonna BB folder, whatever you want to name it actually. So I'm gonna change them the same color. Okay, now when I select all of these, I'm gonna go to file, I'm gonna go to export, I'm gonna go to selected tracks, I'm gonna click on OK, right? So this is where I always save my track preset. So let's say I'm gonna save this BV folder, right? So the next time when you want to add a BV or background vocals with the folder and the group, you can use this method. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to file, go to import track archive, and let's find, this is the one, BV folder. I'm gonna open it. Now it's gonna give me options whether do I want to have a group or just a tracks or all of it. So I'm gonna select all of it, and I'm gonna hit OK. Okay, so this is kind of like a long process though. However, if you want to make it quicker, what you can do, you can actually assign a key command to import track archive. So I have already assigned it to my MIDI remote. You can also assign to MIDI remote or assign a key to import track archive. All right, so that's the difference between the track archive and track preset. So track preset is available here. You can just drag and drop, and if you want to also import with the folder, you can use the track archive. Okay, but I like to create two of these, which is a group and just the background vocals. So for instance, let's say I have this folder already imported, right? Now I have 6 tracks, and I want to add a few more tracks as well. So instead of just duplicating them, I can just drag this one here, and now I got 6 more tracks, and I can just put it inside. I can work with them. All right, so yeah, you can do that as well. Or another thing is that when you import the track archive, now it's going to give you an option whether you want to import all of them, right? So then if let's say you only need 2 hard left right panned vocal background vocals, you can just select this and import it. So that's a little tip for you guys to, speed up the workflow when you're producing your song. So that's the second tip. Let's move on to the third. Okay, this is another cool thing that I like to do. I'm gonna go to, let me just go back to the file here. Okay, so for instance, let me just use a chord editing, right, this one, yeah, whatever. So I have these chords. Let me just expand it a little bit. Okay, another one. Yeah, I think this should be okay. Let me just quantize this. Okay, so now I have these chords, and this is a hi-hat track. So what I want to show you guys is about this MIDI function that I really like to use sometimes. So for instance, right, let's say there are double note here. Okay, so I'm going to copy the same note here and just put it here. It's a double note, right? So let's say like this, for instance. So when I select these, okay, there are two notes here. Okay, let me change this velocity so we can see it clearly. So there are two notes right here. And I'm going to go to MIDI. I'm going to go to functions, and I go to delete doubles. Okay, the double note will be deleted. All right, another thing, sometimes when you're playing your MIDI keyboard, you may accidentally press some notes, right? It's going to be like this. Have you guys seen it, like really short notes? Because it was an accident. You didn't mean to press these notes. So if you want to quickly delete these notes, what you can do is you can select all of these, or you can just go to the key editor, go to MIDI, go to function, and go to delete notes. All right, so it's going to give you this window. So you have this minimum length, minimum velocity. Okay, so anything below a certain velocity, you want to delete them. So watch this note, right? The blue color. I'm going to click delete notes, and it's gonna just disappear, right? So imagine if there are like a lot of notes like that everywhere, right? For instance, like that. So quickly you can delete the note. Just select all of them, MIDI, functions, delete notes, and hit OK. So it's gone, right? I used to delete it one by one. Damn, I wish I knew this long time ago. Anyway, so that is the third tip. Let's move on to the fourth one. So the next one is I'm gonna need a couple of multi-timbral instrument. I think I might use Musio for this one. Okay, so let's add some violins. Okay, I'm gonna load this legato espressivo, and let's load a different articulation. Pizzicato is fine. Spiccato, yeah. I'm gonna use legato, pizzicato, and spiccato. There are three different articulation, but each of these will have its own MIDI channel. So I'm going to just assign it correctly. And like I mentioned in the previous video, I like to compose melody, and then I like to arrange the note according to the articulation. So for instance, let's say C, D, and E flat. So let's say this is the note, right? This is a composition that I made. I want the first note to be a legato, second note I want it to be spiccato, and then a pizzicato. Alright, by spiccato I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna move this one real quick. This one I want two legato note. I'm gonna go and press Alt and click on it to cut all of them. Alright, so I got this one to be a spiccato and pizzicato. Let's go back. So like I said before in the previous video, I like to name them so that I know what's going on. So let's put this as spiccato, and this is pizzicato. Right? Based on these instances that I've loaded here, so we have legato, first MIDI channel. So this two is going to be going to first channel. And this one I want it to be spiccato. Spiccato is MIDI channel number 3. So let's move that to 3, MIDI channel 3, right? And this one I'm gonna move it to MIDI channel 2. Okay, so now one of the things that you can do is you can create a copy of these notes, okay, and just drag it down, and I'm gonna shift right click and go to dissolve parts. and then I'm gonna separate channels, okay, and hit process, and now it creates 3 MIDI channels for me, and all assigned to the correct channels. Let me just close this one. So when I hit play now, it's gonna play the right articulation. So let's hear it. Let me just mute this. Right, it's playing the correct articulation. So the reason why I like to do it in one MIDI channel is because it helps with my composition. So sometimes I like to use the score editor, like this one, and arrange it here by looking at the notation, and then I will add all the articulation after that. So by doing this, I can actually quickly assign those MIDI channels to the articulation. All right, that is the 4th tip. Let's move on to the final tip for today. So the final tip for today is about gain staging. There are many ways or many tools in Cubase that you can use to gain stage, right? So let's say this is a track, right? I'm going to solo this one. When you're gain staging, right, you can see that these are the levels. So I always make sure that my level is within -18 dB, right? So gain staging is all about making sure that the track is not going more than a certain level, right? So right now mine is, I've set to -18 dB, right? It's definitely too hot for this track. And to ensure that what I'm looking at is the correct level, I will right click on this and go to global meter settings and go to meter position, and now currently it's set to post panel, right? So what you can do, you can actually select the input. Let me just explain what the input, post fader, and post panner means. So for instance, let's say I have this track and I have added a let me go to the insert here, and I'm gonna add a limiter, and I'm gonna go to put this at the post fader, crank up the input, right? This is gonna blast your headphone, so I suggest you turn it down. Okay, so it's clipping already, right? This is the input level, but the output level is too hot, right? So I'm going to right click on it and go to the global meter and go to post fader. Now it's going to be clipping, okay? So another thing is that when I pan this, you notice that it's not showing the right level here, even though I can hear it. It's going from left to right or right to left, but now it's not showing the correct level for each panning settings, right? So right click on it again, go to global meter settings and set these post panner. So now it's going to be showing the right level. So in my opinion, this is the right way to gain stage your audio, or when you're mixing, producing, and all that, right? So that's the final tip for today, guys. I hope you guys find this video helpful. If you guys did, please make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, smash the like button, and share this video to everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.